Hey guys, another question and answer video. This one came from Weiserchild409. He asked, or she asked, I don't know, about exercises you can do away from the marimba. So that little ditty thing we just made up, I don't know, sort of an example of something you could do. So the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that question was something that I've heard referred to as floor exercises. So you don't have a marimba, you don't have a vibraphone, you don't have your xylophone, but you always have the floor, the carpet, a table, something. And my student, Christopher, has always maintained a good collection of these types of exercises, so I thought I would bring him in on this and show you some specific exercises that he's collected over the years, and we can just talk about what he does away from a marimba and what I do away from marimba, and so what you can do too. So what do you do away from a marimba?
Well, I mean, the first thing, I always play on the floor, and I like to play to music because, again, we're not dealing with pitch, so you're only really dealing with the mallets and mechanics, so I love playing with music. And all these exercises that I'm about to go through, they can be played with any type of music as long as it has a consistent tempo. So the first thing I always start out with is my basic double verticals on both hands, so also known, I guess, as a quad stop.
Yes.
Yep, so all four at the same time, and as long in any pattern, really. At various heights, as long as I'm maintaining the motion, the mechanics, and I'm checking my technique. And it also just builds stamina the longer you go. So that would be the first one that I do.
I think it's important, you have to work on the things that you can't do with the marimba. Ideally, you play on your instrument, and it's just a good question that you've asked, because there's so much time where you don't have an instrument, because most of us don't own them, and you can't be at your school all the time. So it's good to have these. The things you can't do away from it are, like your accuracy. Practicing your tone quality, and probably the learning the piece you're learning. It's probably really hard to do away from it unless you're doing mental run-throughs. So like Christopher was saying, mechanics, you can work on mechanics and stamina and all the athletic things behind your stroke. And really, I think you can work on your technique as far as the athletic side of technique. You can't really work on your technique as far as the tone you can produce and things, but I do think it contributes to it. So you'll have more tools to use if your technical facility is higher. So when you do return to the marimba, then you do try to produce a good tone. You have more tools in your bag, basically. Yeah. So what? And I agree with that. I mean, I think a good one is just. Just practicing having that loose and relaxed, and just over and over and over. He's listening to music, I'm watching Netflix, and sitting on my carpet, I'm watching Dexter season whatever, or I'm watching Breaking Bad, for the 17th hour of the day. And I can't, I have to be doing something, or else I feel guilty. So I think it's a good way to do that, and you're just letting it go and go and go. And it's important, this contrast, because one is just letting your hands go over and over and over, and another one is very methodical, listening to music like a metronome. So I think it's important to do both, or actually it's more important to do that way, What else?
And then the second one, for the drumline guys out there, 8 on a mallet, where you're actually breaking down each specific mallet. Just working on the technique and the mechanics of that stroke, whatever technique you're using. But just getting really comfortable with that specific technique in the stroke, with the various types of permutations. For instance, I use kind of a grid pattern if we use our sequential double laterals, which would be an example of that. There's a huge list, but the first example of that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. You could do a check pattern, such as... And you can use those with all different types of permutations. For instance, a single lateral. also mirror double lateral, 4-3-1-2. And there's a huge list, and you can just figure out your permutations and apply that specific kind of grid exercises to all those different types of combinations you can come up with. And there's also, we could do independent or coordination exercises. For instance, we could do 16th notes on the right hand, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and while the left hand would do 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and put those together. Or flip it around, 16th notes, 8th notes. And then you can start with either the 3 or the 4 mallet, or 4 or the 3. There's so many different combinations that you can do. You can also do, for instance, maybe 6 tuplets on the right, 8th notes on the left. I'm sorry, yeah, that's right. Or 5lets or 7lets or any type of combination that you can think of to improve coordination between your right and your left hand.
Yeah, this is what I like to do when people ask about timing fast things. Basically take the same thing and take it a little step further, like in some of the pieces that have running 30-second notes against a melody or something, you can do the same type of thing. So it's, what would that be, 8ths to 30 seconds or whatever, but the same sort of thing. What else?
And there could also be, let's see, polyrhythmic coordination exercises. For instance, you could have triplets in the right hand, 8th notes in the left hand. Or flip it.
Did I flip it?
I'm not sure. Or you could even do 5lets in the right, 8ths in the left. And again, even when you're doing these coordination exercises, it's important to maintain mechanics and all the things that you can work on away from the marimba, because you don't have to deal with pitch. You're working on just the motion of the body and the technique, whatever technique that is that you're utilizing at the time. Yeah, and I mean that's I think a pretty basic set that you can use.
Yeah.
And there's so many different variations you can tweak. And if you find something in a piece that you want to get better at, use that one technique and apply it to the floor or through beats that you're listening to, or you could also apply all these floor exercises to pitch related things on the marimba. Pick a specific interval or a chord and just use that interval and chord, and then move up and then move up. And you can so it's not just playing on the floor. You can also use floor exercises on the marimba when you have that opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, band.
Go band.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope that's helpful, and thanks to Christopher for helping me with the question and bringing his exercises and be creative. Like I think these are either ones we've made up and you've made up, or someone else just made up. So I mean, just keep your hands moving, and then when you have a marimba, do your real practicing, But in the meantime, this is just kind of athletic,
Yeah.